Good evening and thank you for joining us. It is one of the worst abuses of power. A trusted police officer sexually abusing vulnerable children. For decades, a sergeant in New Brunswick got away with it. A Global News 16/9 investigation has found dozens willing to speak out about their ordeal. And now we've learned a class action lawsuit is in the works, alleging a massive cover-up. Jennifer Tryon is in St. John with the exclusive details. Jen.
Investigators are on the cusp of unearthing what very well might be one of Canada's largest, most disturbing cases of child molestation. One that many people here in St. John, New Brunswick say has been deliberately covered up for decades. The memories are terrifying. A young boy in St. John, New Brunswick, hunted by a pedophile with a police badge.
Not knowing if he was going to be around, looking behind you all the time. That was the terror.
The officer's name was Kenneth Estabrooks, and this man, who we'll call Ryan, was one of the many victims who has never been heard from before.
I've seen people turn to alcohol. I've seen them turn to drugs. I did that myself. I mean, kids were being raped on the street.
The abuse started in the late 1950s, but it wasn't until 1999 that Estabrooks was finally sent to jail. And even then, he was only convicted on 4 charges and sentenced to 6 years in prison. As it turned out, the case was far from over.
It was learned that the allegations were against a former City of St. John police officer, Ken Estabrooks.
Last year, acting on a new complaint, the City of St. John hired a private investigator from Toronto to find all of the victims. And a Global News investigation has uncovered dozens who say they were sexually assaulted by Kenneth Estabrooks.
He simply, in the strongest terms, used his authority to falsely arrest, abduct, and confine people, and then sexually abuse them. That's what he did.
There's evidence that the police knew what Estabrooks was doing. He actually signed a confession after 2 boys complained in 1975. But instead of being charged, Estabrooks was quietly transferred to another city job.
I think, like a lot of us, we wonder what happened and wonder why, he was terminated, not charged.
The new victims will never have their day in court. Estabrooks died in 2005, but there may still be others to hold accountable. If the investigation does reveal that former city or police officials willingly turned a blind eye to the abuse, the current City Hall says it's committed to righting this wrong for victims, no matter how many decades have gone by.
All right, thanks, Jen. And she'll have much more on this story in 16/9 season premiere tomorrow night at 7. And if you want to read more into the case right now, we've posted a timeline on our website, globalnews.ca.